Welcome everybody to Trades of the Week, where I, Marcus de Maria, and my head trader, Dennis Sahlström, take you through not only what happened since last week and what our trades did we win, did we not, etc., but also in this week's episode, we're going to discuss the January effect. Very, very important for you to have a look at. Also, what is happening in the silver market right now and how you can take advantage of that. And what's happening in cryptos right now. Quick update and one coin that you could be looking at, plus our normal longs and shorts for you to start doing your research on. So let's get to it. All right, Dennis, let's have a look at what's happened since last week. Very exciting. Let's start off with Agios Pharmaceuticals. Yeah. We were looking for a short here, looking to go at 1% below that point here. What happened, Dennis?
Yes.
Okay, so we went slightly into profit and now we're in a slight loss situation. So let's see what happens with that. All right.
Next up is ARCT.
Yes, so we were up already 10% on that one here. Let's see what happened there.
Yeah, very exciting. I hope you got in because...
Yay!
Plus 34%.
Plus 34%. So really, if you haven't raised your stop loss here, remember we're looking for around 15 to 20%. It's up 34%. But it is going in the right direction.
Yeah, it looks like it's breaking up. It looks to be covering that gap.
It does,
up
but
to 100,
do raise your stop losses, please. Don't just watch something go up and come all the way back down again. Next.
So next up is Engine Coin. We looked at a crypto as well. So we looked for an entry there. Remember, they were working together with the regulators in Japan.
Very
which is why it went up. So
and this is the small cap though, so therefore we go in slightly differently at minus 25. And we're in a little bit of a loss now here, just below there. So you could be getting in at a better point than us.
Absolutely. And next up is Ethereum.
Ethereum. We showed you this great chart since 2017, reaching again almost its all-time high. Now people say, but it went past its all-time high. It did, but then, you know, it's like peekaboo coming all the way back down. We need a close above the 1,400. Did it do it, Dennis? Did it close? Last time it didn't?
No, but very exciting. It is above that area now.
Can we zoom in? Is it possible to zoom?
It is.
Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Well, okay, so I like this. Okay, so it's testing it, going higher, testing it. Now, this is today's. It's not the end of the day yet, so it hasn't yet closed. If it doesn't close, it's going to be the same, right? But, Dennis, what do you think? Buying pressure here?
I think there's a little buying pressure. We see here that the buyers are willing to buy for higher prices each time. And we're running out of sellers, I think. So I think we might be pushing higher here.
It's looking good for Ethereum because once it does go above 1,400 and close there, having said that, though, now you've got this high there, so I ideally want it to close above 1,500. If it does that, remember, there is no ceiling. It's never been higher. It could go, next stop for me would be 2,000.
Absolutely.
And people are saying by the end of the year it could be 5,000, 10,000. I don't know about that, but certainly the next stop would then be 2,000, which is very exciting indeed. Obviously, Ethereum is used a lot. Okay, what else do we have?
Yeah, so next up is GVPH, so GV Pharmaceuticals.
Another short, right? So 1% below this bar. What happened, Dennis?
Yeah, I remember we told I was so close getting a 1% loss on that.
Yeah.
And then I did get a 1% loss on that.
Yes. And this is the great thing about having a stop loss. We make sure we only risk 1% of our entire portfolio. We don't want to risk more than that. People always want to make money, make money. If that's the case, it's the attitude of an amateur. What we really want is professionalism. Professionals focus on risk management. The rest will follow. Don't worry, the rest... And you know, here's the thing. What people don't realize is you can have the best strategy in the world. With bad risk management, you will lose money. You can have a not very good strategy, but with the right risk management, you can still make money. You can still make money, which is absolutely incredible. I love that.
Yeah, that is
all right. Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. We love Coca-Cola. Well, actually, I never drink Coca-Cola.
Well, but you do, but you just maybe don't drink Coca-Cola. But from the company, you probably drink the water or something else that they do.
Absolutely. And it actually is just hovering around the area. So if you haven't got in yet, do your research. But it still looks like a good buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're waiting for
hovering.
Yeah.
Next up, but that's the thing about these big companies like Coca-Cola. Their price movements are lame, man. I mean, they are lame because everybody knows they're a solid company like kind of goes up 5%, down 5%. Nothing really happens on
you
that.
You say that, but then you have these bigger movements. But,
I do say that.
But I agree.
That's not a huge movement. That's like a 10% down. That's nothing.
Yeah, that is true.
That's pathetic. Boo, boo, boo.
If we look at Moderna, that's another ball game.
Yes.
So it fell down 30, almost 40%. We were up 14% last time.
Yeah, and remember, we bought twice, so therefore we have an average price, putting a little bit more there. So average price minus something, so around there. We're up 14%. What happened, Dennis?
It continued up.
Boom! 41% you could have made. Now it's coming back down. This is why it's so important to raise your stop loss. You probably would have gotten out if you did it just below this point here. So certainly you would have gotten more than our 15 to 20% price target. But obviously, yeah, it is a shame, you know, when it goes all the way up and then comes back down. But don't worry, always leave something for somebody else. Don't be too greedy.
Absolutely, absolutely. And next up is Pfizer. So Pfizer minus 15%. We were a bit in profit, and now it's down a little bit more. So you could get in at a better price than we did.
Absolutely. And we're not going to get in there again until it falls a little bit more on that. Do we have anything else from last week?
Yeah, we have Twitter as well.
Ooh.
So for those of you who are in Twitter, we were in a slight profit, and that actually continued up. So we are making a 3-1 at the moment.
That means for every 1% that we risk, we've basically made 3%. This is very, very nice. Definitely time to move our stop losses up, lock in that profit. But this could go all the way up, so make sure you give it a little bit of room to move. Don't just take your profits. That's what amateurs do. They have their profit target, they take it. No. Let's put our stop loss underneath, let it go up, because this could go up all the way. Who knows? I don't know. Dennis, do you know?
I don't.
You don't? I thought you were going to say I do.
Yeah,
I don't. Okay.
There's one thing I would say is that the earnings is coming up, and that is when they report their results and if something is happening in the company. Last time we had a big drop in the market in regards to that. So what I would say, it could be good to close this or put your stop loss fairly close, just to not lose these profits you've made. To not be greedy, but just...
What I think is so interesting, right, is that like some people say, well, if earnings are bad, obviously it's going to go down. Which it did, but then went to all-time highs again, right? Oh, I don't know about all-time highs, but certainly recent highs. So is there a correlation? Not really. It depends on what they say, how they say it, and the market perception. So I just think it's interesting that it falls so much, even gaps, which means overnight selling from institutions, going down here, everybody panics. Boom, institutions get back in and drive it all the way. Don't play the institutions game. Have a game plan, have a strategy, follow the rules. I think that's it. Yeah,
that is it.
All right, let's see what we're going to cover this week. So some people follow some big kind of, I call them rumors. Like, so for example, the Santa rally, where around December time, all stocks go up. Not all stocks go up. Things like, January is the barometer of what is going to happen for the rest of the year. These are kind of like, in my opinion, old wives' tales. So for example, if it's going to be a bad January, that means for the rest of the year it's going to be bad. If it's a good January, for the rest of the year it's going to be good. And I mean, look, there might be a tiny little bit of correlation, but it's just so slim, it's just not even worth looking at. And I mean, I think it was last year that we were down 1.1% in January, and then the rest of the year we're up over 18%. So don't listen to these things. Look at what is in front of you. As traders, that's all we do, right? We look at what there is. We don't do much hopium. We don't take much of the hopium. What we do is we trade what we see. So Dennis, what should we be looking at this week?
Yes, we should be looking at a few things, like Marcus says. So, and we want to be diverse into both directions. We want to be exposed in case it goes down, in case it goes.
You want to be exposed?
Exposed to the market.
Okay.
Yeah, exposed to the market.
Don't do that, Dennis. It's illegal.
So we have a nice downward trend here. We have one dunk, one bounce, two bounces, and a third dunk as well here.
Yes, and dunk, remember, is the technical word, at least for Dennis.
Yeah, exactly. So keep it simple.
Yeah.
And we see here we have a big green candle. It does look like it might break above. So today's candle will be important for this. I'm not placing a trade on this now. I'm waiting for today's candle to see what happens. So if we get a red candle, a nice reversal candle, then that will trigger me to place an order at least.
Yeah, a nice reverse candle and maybe a little shorter one as well.
Yes.
So that instead of getting in at 1% below this mark here, if we have a nice little short candle just kissing that line there, then 1% below that candle would be amazing, because what that does, think about this, if this was our risk, then our reward isn't going to be much. But if this is our risk, then our reward is going to be very nice indeed. Risk 1% in order to make at least 3%. So that's our short position. Do we have a long one as well?
We do have a long one as well. I'm happy you asked. So the first one is, and we looked at this before, but it's Appfolio Incorporated, has great fundamentals.
Okay.
And we have a nice 3-to-1 on this. So we have a good green candle yesterday. It has been consolidating for a little bit, but we're looking to place an order on this today to see what happens.
Remember that it does have to get us into the trade. So we are looking not to get in right now or at market open, but we put the order in advance using a stop order. As you know, there are limit orders, market meaning right now, and a stop order. We never use a market order, we use a stop order, so that the price has to get us in, so it's traveling in the right direction. But as Dennis says, actually a very, very nice risk-reward ratio there. What else do we have, Dennis?
Yeah, and we actually have another long, which is from Public Service Enterprise. So PEG is the ticker for that, short word. And as I say, same thing here, a very nice upward trend. You see it's creating higher lows and higher highs.
And remember, the trend is your friend. So don't start saying, oh, it's gone up a lot, therefore it's time to start shorting. That, again, is you projecting your emotions and your hopium onto it. Just do what you see, and that is the best way of doing it. The trend is your friend, so we are going to be going in there. And again, it has to get us in. But And again, you have a confluence. Remember, we sometimes talk about two things happening. So you have the vertical buffalo, and you also have this support level here, a kind of a shorty baby little buffalo here over several months as well. And so therefore, getting us in there. Where would you put your stop loss, Dennis?
Yes, I do like we have this older resistance turned into support. I really like that. So we have the confluence of two different levels, which is great.
And now...
but what I would, so there's two ways of looking at the stop loss here. The safer way would be to put it under this area, just in the beginning or end of 2020 or beginning of 2021, because it shows us that it's been down there before and it's very close to where it is at the moment. So you could consider those at the same bounce, but the little bit more aggressive way would be to use the current one instead. But then you might risk to be stopped out, though.
Are you aggressive, Dennis? Are you an aggressive person?
I'm not an aggressive person. I don't really like.
Are you an aggressive trader?
Yes.
How you do anything is how you do everything, as my mentor T. Harv Eker says. Are you an aggressive trader?
Yes, I'm a bit of an aggressive
person.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is why the solution to it doesn't matter if you're aggressive or if you're this or that. That's why we have a strategy to take the emotions out of play.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
All right, fantastic. I'll tell you one thing that we could quickly talk about, because everybody is talking about it, so we might as well mention it just for 1 minute, is the whole kind of whole fiasco concerning GameStop. So shall we have a quick look at that chart?
We should, because that story actually continues as well. So here we have it. This is GameStop. Yeah,
so in short, you've got a kind of a retail outlet that people have to physically go to. Not only is that kind of like not necessarily a growing way of selling things, but also now with COVID, it's shut. So therefore, you can imagine the fundamentals aren't that great, and the institutions were shorting the market to the point that there were more short positions than there were actually shares available. And so therefore, they were using leverage. And the retail traders that were a fan of this have said, you know what you're trying to do here, institutions, as usual, you're trying to manipulate the market, you're trying to break up this company, we actually love the product, and I tell you what, we're going to give you the middle finger. So what they did is they got together and they all got in and pushed this price up to the extent that one of the big institutions in America almost filed for bankruptcy. They had billions of losses. They actually had to be bailed out by two of their buddies to the tune of, I think, $1 or $2 billion. Well, go ahead. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's incredible that this can even happen. It just shows that there is a way to, well, I wouldn't say fight back, but
but the institutions are doing this all the time. Like
they are.
So the retail traders got together. You know, I don't know how many. There may be hundreds of thousands. Got together, pushed the whole thing up. But and that could be seen as manipulating the price. That's what institutions do all the time. What do you think they were trying to do? They were trying to just make money on something going down, even shorting more shares than were available. That's manipulation.
It's incredible. And they're doing that in a lot of markets because they have that kind of buying power. But what do we see here? A lot of people are obviously piling in, hoping for this to go up another 1,000, 2,000, 3,000%.
I wouldn't do that.
No, because that's purely emotions. You need to have a strategy. And now I think what we can draw here is the famous Eiffel Tower formation.
Oh, I haven't heard of this one. The Eiffel Tower formation.
Yeah.
Tell us about this one.
So we can see here when it goes up like the
Yes.
Eiffel Tower, well, to complete the formation, it needs to go all the way back down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
and it doesn't need to... What is that? You just made that up. That doesn't even exist.
You can Google it, but it's no, maybe
You
not. But
Google
when
it.
something goes up way too fast, it usually comes down as well, unless there are some really good fundamentals behind it. This, for me, is pure speculation because the fundamentals of they have really suffered during COVID. The fundamentals are not that great.
This thing is going to go back down, and all the people that said, we are going to make you pay, etc., unfortunately, I hate to say this, they're going to lose a lot of money because it is going to come back down because the fundamentals aren't great. So I would stay well clear of this, but there has been some manipulation, and some of the actual brokers, for example, they took positions out. So people were buying and they sold their positions without their authority to do that. So again, manipulation, this time by the brokers. And now some of them have actually stopped trading, so you can't do anything there either. So stay away would be my suggestion.
Absolutely.
All right, let's have a look at what's next. Okay, so the retail traders that bandied together in order to push GameStop up, they use a forum called Reddit. And what are they targeting next? Well, they're actually targeting silver. Silver. So let's have a look at silver, especially the SLV. This is the ETF, the exchange traded fund in America, the largest one when it comes to silver. And what happened there, Dennis?
So what happened here was on Friday, it was very interesting because on Friday when they closed, the market closed, then a lot of people apparently piled in different ways to accumulate silver. And it was one of the biggest days in regards to volume almost ever. So something is happening here, something is cooking in the pan. And
The silver pan?
the silver pan, I think. And then on Monday, which was yesterday, then it just gapped up, right? They went up 10% on the open, which is rare for silver, I must say. And it actually opened above the highest point since it was at $50, which was a long time ago now, a few years ago. So if we break this high and close above, it could be very, very exciting for the silver price.
Okay, but when you see things like that, I hope you're not going to be like those people out there who are just going to jump up on this one here. I'm not saying this is an all-time high, but it's pretty high if you have a look at this formation here. And yes, I would rather have gotten in down there. Now, I don't know whether it's going to come back down there again, but Dennis, we do need to wait for a pullback.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're just going to give you kind of what we're looking at, and then you do your own research, use the strategies. But let's see here, because we do have a silver. This, if you want to invest in an ETF, this is the safer way of doing it. Just invest in the silver price. But we have spoken about this one, Pan American Silver Corp, a couple of times here as well.
So the difference here, if you have an ETF of a commodity like silver, I always ask myself the question, can it go to zero? Can silver go to zero? Yes or no? Can gold go to zero? Can platinum go to zero? Can copper go to zero, etc. and so forth? Okay, the answer for me is a no. So when I go in, I have that certainty, and if the price falls, I can buy again to lower my average price. When you're looking at Pan American Silver Corporation, that is an individual stock. Dennis, could this go to zero?
Absolutely.
It could, right? Because it's a stock. You never know what's going to happen. There might be a scandal, and then the CFO leaves, and blah 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 blah, and it all goes.
Or they run out of silver in the mine. Even there could be anything happening.
Yeah.
But one thing that I like with the silver now as well is that apparently a lot of people are trying to buy physical silver as a protection against inflation because they're printing so much money that we've spoken about before. But there's not that much physical silver to be had. A lot of the where you buy it in the stores or the silver stores, when you can invest in it, they're out of it. They don't have anything left. So there seems to be a slightly higher demand than the supply currently, which is very interesting.
But the price, even though you see it going quite high here on this chart compared to the previous months, should be a lot higher. Look, Dennis is saying that there is hardly any supply. There is a lot of demand. Why aren't the prices above its all-time high at 50, even 100, maybe even 1,000? Why is that? One word: manipulation. As usual, the institutions keeping it down. It's actually a well-known fact that it's always the same one. JP Morgan, the largest bank in the world, certainly in America, they are keeping that price down for a reason. I don't know what that reason is, by the way. Do you know what that reason is?
I don't know the reason, but it just could be because if gold was going up a lot, silver going up a lot, cryptos, then people would probably get out of fiat, which then would be dollars, because they're printing so much, which I don't think is going to have a good effect. So I think by keeping that down, people are, well, they stay in dollars, basically.
I think if it would be a natural market where prices were just allowed to do whatever they were allowed to do, I think with all the printing that's going on, with all the businesses that are going bankrupt, etc., around because of COVID and because of the shutdown and the lockdown, commodities like silver and gold should be much, much higher than they are right now. I know silver is pretty high, gold is quite high and silver's just gone up, etc., but it should be a lot more, and the institutions again are manipulating the market. This is why I like cryptocurrencies. This is why I like the blockchain technology. We don't want this centralized one or two banks controlling everything. What we want tens of thousands of different entities taking care of the blockchain. That is it.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And one last company we can have a look at here is Franco-Nevada Corp. We've spoken a bit about that before. It's currently down 26% from its high. But what we find so interesting with them is that they help miners in need. So this is actually, I think, a little bit of a way to diversify, because Pan American Silver Corp, it's a mining company. But Franco-Nevada Corp invest into mining companies in need. And by doing so, they can earn royalties, right? They get kind of an income from those miners. So they are diversified in the mining sector, which I find really interesting. So I think this would be a great one to invest in as well.
So it is a company, but it is invested in several companies. So therefore, it's kind of like an ETF, but isn't an ETF. So it's interesting. So it's a lot more diversified. Okay, it's just taken a long time to come down, Dennis. I don't want people to be waiting so long for it to go up. But it's a little bit of a safer bet, if you like. All right, very good. What's next? Well, the crypto section this week is going to be a little bit short because there's not that much to talk about. The only thing is that the trend seems to be intact. Even though we've come down slightly from highs, it's still looking bullish. A couple of things have happened in the market though. So for example, Elon Musk just tweeted, Bitcoin. That's all he did, just Bitcoin. So it looks like he is now coming over to the site because he wasn't sure about Bitcoin. And as a result, Bitcoin went up almost 10% as a result just because of that tweet. Because when the richest man in the world, arguably one of the most entrepreneurial, intelligent people in the world as well, just puts Bitcoin on there, that means something. We're not quite sure what, but it's definitely more positive than negative. The other person is Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio, very, very famous. We've even mentioned him on this show as well. He is a long-term investor. He's very, very solid, multi-billion-dollar fund, etc. Always a cryptocurrency skeptic in the past, has now finally said he thinks that Bitcoin is one hell of an invention. And so that kind of changes the mood to become more positive. It's kind of the last in a long line of former skeptics that are now turning to what they can see to be an excellent invention, and there is a use case for it as well, even though I keep having arguments with people about whether there is a use case or not. But that's good because you need to have a market, otherwise it's just going to shoot up, and we need to have it like pull back and buyers and sellers, and then because it needs to be sustainable,
Yeah, and if everyone loved it, then it would already be, as high as it would be. So it's good that people are skeptics.
Which is how high?
which is, well, that's a good one. I think we said in the last update 200,000 was at the next at least, but we'll see over time. Who knows, right? All we can do is to look at the trend and just play with the trend, basically.
Yeah.
But one thing I would like to say here as well, we talked about GameStop earlier, now maybe silver, but that has actually put the cryptos in the spotlight as well. Because people don't like that a lot of the trading institutions or trading platforms shut down the trading with GameStop, so people can't trade it anymore. Why would they have that power in a way? So they are turning to cryptos, which is decentralized. They cannot shut it down. They cannot say we're going to suspend trading with this one now, because it will always be decentralized exchanges, which is not controlled by a regulated authority.
So but a lot of the exchanges at the moment still are centralized. You know, the Binances, the Krakens, the Coinbases, they are centralized. But there's a lot of decentralized exchanges, and slowly people will move to those. But there needs to be more liquidity in those.
Absolutely.
Do we have anything to look at, though?
We do have. We have one that we think is very interesting to get into, and that one would be Litecoin, actually.
Litecoin, of course, one of the most original forks from Bitcoin. It really is just Bitcoin because, again, Bitcoin is open source, so they just took that coding and they created Litecoin, which is a lot faster, a lot cheaper, in many ways a lot better version of Bitcoin. Absolutely.
So it's currently down 24%, and we're going to enter with our CCA strategy, the crypto cost average. So make sure you do your research, but we think it's a good entry point at the moment.
Because we're not using it minus 20%. Why? Because it's got a big market cap.
Yeah, we used it minus 20%, but it's currently down minus 24%.
So you're saying we normally would have gotten in at minus 20 because it was close to 25. That's what I was saying. Okay, great. So you're managing to get in, if you're listening to this, cheaper than we would, which is absolutely amazing. I mean, I have to say, I always say this every time and I don't buy any more. I am light on Litecoin. Yeah,
maybe now is a good time.
Maybe now is a good time. When is now a good time, as Tony Robbins always says. So that's a very short piece there on cryptos. I hope you enjoyed the trades of the week, and please do comment below. What do you think? Do you think that the retail traders were right in giving the institutions a bloody nose when it came to GameStop? Do you think they were right in doing that or not? And are you looking to get in right now? Comment below. I hope you're not, because I can only see this one going down for now as people panic, because yes, for a while they go, we're going to show them, but then afterwards I'm not sure what's going to happen. And what do you think about Elon Musk tweeting Bitcoin and Ray Dalio kind of moving over to the light side? What do you think of that? Please do comment below. And if you like this week's video, if you got lots of value from our longs and our shorts, then please do hit that like button. More importantly though, make sure you do subscribe to this channel. Why? Because every single week, Dennis and I will be showing you what we are looking at, and also what happened last week, so you'll always know whether we won, we lost, etc. And therefore, it's a good start for you to start making your own and doing your own research. So go ahead, please, and subscribe.